I never imagined I'd be the guy writing something like this, honestly. My wife, Jessica, and I had been together for about 6 years. We met in college, hit it off pretty quickly, and by the time we got married, I thought we were solid. We had plans, big plans, and honestly, I thought she was the one. She was pretty demanding, sure, often bitchy about small things, but I always thought that was just her personality. She could be stubborn, but she was also funny and smart. At least that's what I told myself. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but it was stable. Until recently, I started noticing little things. She'd get weirdly defensive if I touched her phone, or she'd cancel plans at the last minute without a good reason. At first, I brushed it off as stress from work or whatever. But then, her behavior got more obvious. She started dressing differently. I caught her lying about where she was going or who she was with. She'd make up stories quick, with that bitchy smirk she always had, trying to brush me off. I didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't ignore the gut feeling that something was off. The worst part, she had been acting secretive about her phone. She'd go to the bathroom, lock the door, and I'd hear her whispering or giggling, things I definitely didn't think she'd do if she was innocent. I started noticing more missed calls, strange texts, and late nights. I tried talking to her, but Jessica had a way of dismissing me, telling me I was paranoid, that I was overthinking. She'd call me insecure or accuse me of not trusting her, which made me feel like I was losing my mind. That's when I knew something was really wrong. But honestly, I never expected the crazy twist that was coming. It all hit the fan during our last vacation, something we'd planned for months. We went to our family cabin, a place I used to think was our sanctuary. Jessica was acting even more bitchy than usual, snapping at me for minor things, like I was bothering her just by breathing. But I brushed it off, trying to keep things normal. We'd been fighting a lot the week before, and I just wanted a peaceful getaway, even if everything felt off. That Friday night, I decided to take a walk around the property. I was feeling restless, maybe trying to clear my head. As I strolled near the back of the cabin, I saw a light flickering in the guest room. I thought maybe someone was up there or Jessica was sneaking around again. I peeked through the window. What I saw made my stomach drop. Jessica was in there with some guy. They were on the bed, tangled up, and from what I could tell, they were doing more than just talking. His hand was under her shirt and her face was pressed into his neck. I froze. My mind refused to process it at first, like my brain just shut down. I stayed there watching, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The worst part, Jessica was pregnant. I saw her belly bulge out as she moved, and I knew immediately this wasn't just some fling. She was carrying this guy's kid. The guy, I later learned, was my best friend, Mark. Yeah, Mark. That bastard I trusted more than anyone. I couldn't believe it. All these years I thought we were tight and he was my best friend. Turns out, he'd been screwing my wife while I was paying for this damn vacation. I didn't make a sound. I just backed away slowly, heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. I can't describe the rage, the hurt, the confusion. I felt like I'd been hit by a train. My wife, Jessica, who always called me insecure when I had questions, was there, cheating on me in our family cabin with my best friend, and she was pregnant with his kid. And I had no idea how long this had been going on. I mean, I knew she'd been acting weird, but I never thought it would come to something like this. I stood there for what felt like forever, just trying to breathe, trying to process what I'd just seen. When I finally turned away, I knew I had a decision to make. I couldn't keep pretending this wasn't happening. Not anymore. I didn't sleep much that night. The images kept flashing through my head. Jessica's bitchy smirk when she lied about where she was going, the way she'd snap at me for no reason, and now, the reality that she'd been cheating on me with Mark, my best friend, and that she was pregnant with his kid. It was like my entire world had shattered into 1,000 pieces. I kept replaying everything I'd seen, trying to figure out what I could do, how I could confront her, how I could even look her in the eyes after this. The next morning, I decided I had to talk to her. I couldn't just let her get away with it. I confronted her when she woke up, cold, quiet, and absolutely furious when I told her I knew what she'd been up to. She tried the usual BS, denying it, calling me paranoid, saying it was a misunderstanding. She called me insecure, jealous, crazy even. But I wasn't buying any of it. I had the evidence, those texts she'd been hiding, the way she'd been sneaking around. I threw her phone on the bed and told her I saw everything. Her eyes flashed with anger and contempt, and she started lying faster than I could process. She told me they'd just been talking, that it was nothing serious, that Mark meant nothing to her, that she was pregnant with his child, but that it didn't mean anything, that it was just a mistake, that she was sorry. Sorry? Sorry for what? For cheating, for lying, for betraying me, the guy who loved her. She kept spinning stories, calling me insecure, saying I was just jealous because I couldn't give her what she wanted. She looked right into my eyes and lied like it was nothing. That's when I saw her true colors, the bitchy, manipulative side that I'd ignored for too long. I realized she had zero remorse. Honestly, I felt like I was losing my mind. My chest was tight, my stomach in knots. I couldn't believe she'd do this, not just cheat but then have the nerve to lie about it and turn it around on me. I kept thinking about Mark, my supposed best friend, the guy I'd trusted with everything, and how he had betrayed me in the worst way possible. That morning I knew I had a choice: forgive her and try to forget, or cut her out of my life for good. I was furious, broken, and completely betrayed. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face knowing what I'd seen? That's when I realized I'd never be able to trust her again, not after what I found out. After that explosive morning, I was a mess. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and honestly, I felt like I was walking around in a fog. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Jessica and Mark caught up in that stupid, sick affair. I kept thinking about how she'd lied to me for months, maybe longer. How she'd played me like a damn fool, all while she was pregnant with Mark's kid. The betrayal cut so deep I didn't know how to breathe properly. I knew I had to do something, anything, to regain some sense of control. I started planning my next move. Part of me wanted to confront Mark face to face, but I decided against rushing into anything. I needed time to think, to come up with a plan that would hurt them just as much as they hurt me. I spent hours researching, digging into their phones, looking for more evidence. I even hired a private investigator to track Mark's movements and Jessica's secret meetings. I wanted to know if there was more to this than I'd seen. Turns out there was. Jessica was sneaking out almost every night, meeting Mark in different places, sometimes near the city, sometimes at shady motels. She was hiding everything from me, and I felt like I was losing my mind trying to keep up with her lies. Meanwhile, Jessica kept up the act, acting like everything was fine, like I was overreacting. She'd try to guilt-trip me, call me controlling or paranoid. She'd say I didn't trust her and that I was just insecure, but I knew better now. The woman I loved was gone. Someone else had taken her place, someone who was willing to cheat, lie, and manipulate her way through this mess. The worst part: she kept insisting she was pregnant, but she refused to tell me who the father was. The lies, the gaslighting, they just piled up, and I started to realize I was in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. My emotional state was a roller coaster. One minute I was furious, ready to cut her out for good. The next I was devastated, crying in the shower, feeling like I'd lost my soulmate. I'd always thought Jessica was strong, bitchy, maybe difficult, but ultimately loyal. Turns out she was just good at hiding her true self. I felt so betrayed I didn't know who I was anymore. The trust was gone, completely shattered, and I wondered how I'd ever recover from this. Was I somehow responsible for her cheating? Did I miss signs? Did I fail as a husband? These questions haunted me, but deep down I knew I had to be strong. I had to decide whether I was going to fight for my marriage or walk away from the wreckage. By the time I had all the evidence I needed, I was already leaning toward ending it all. No more pretending, no more lies, no more Jessica acting like she was the victim. I knew I couldn't stay with her, not after all this. The trust was obliterated, and I felt like a fool for ever believing in her loyalty. I sat her down that evening, everything cold and dark inside me. I told her I knew about everything: her affair with Mark, the pregnancy, all the sneaking around. Her reaction was classic Jessica. She started crying, calling me a controlling asshole, saying I was ruining her life. She said she was sorry, begged me to forgive her, said it was just a stupid mistake. She even had the nerve to say she loved me, that she'd never meant to hurt me, that Mark was just some fling that got out of hand. Yeah, right. That woman could lie with a straight face, claiming she loved me when she was pregnant with my best friend's kid. I looked at her, feeling nothing but disgust. I told her she was a bitch, that I'd had enough of her lies and manipulations. I told her I was done. That night was a nightmare. I packed my bags, left the cabin, and drove away without looking back. The pain was overwhelming. I felt broken, betrayed, humiliated. I was furious at Mark, furious at Jessica, furious at myself for ever trusting them. I spent days trying to process what had happened, questioning everything I ever believed about her. It was a huge blow to my ego and my heart, and honestly, I felt like I'd lost a part of myself. In the aftermath, I realized I wasn't the only victim in this mess. Jessica's actions, her lies, and her affairs had wrecked not just my life but also her own. I knew I had to rebuild from this somehow. My decision was to cut all ties, to focus on healing, and to move forward by myself. I'm still hurt, more than I ever thought I could be, but I also feel a strange sense of relief. I've learned a lot about loyalty, betrayal, and the importance of trusting my instincts. I don't know if I'll ever fully get over this, but one thing's certain. I refuse to stay in a relationship built on lies. No matter how much it hurts, I have to start over. Now, looking back, I realize this whole ordeal changed me in ways I never expected. I used to believe in happily ever afters, in trusting people completely. Jessica's betrayal shattered that illusion. It's like I had to learn how to trust myself again, how to listen to that gut feeling that warned me when something was off. I never wanted to be that guy who gets played, but I was. I let my guard down, and it almost destroyed me. The hardest part was accepting that she was capable of lying so convincingly, and that Mark, my supposed best friend, was capable of doing this to me. The pain of knowing they lied right to my face, knowing they kept a secret that tore my world apart, that's what sticks with me the most. It's a kind of heartbreak that doesn't go away easily. But I also learned that sometimes you have to walk away from what's broken. No matter how much it hurts, staying would have meant living in a lie every day, and I refuse to do that. I've started to rebuild my life piece by piece. I've cut out the toxic people, started focusing on myself, and rediscovered what makes me happy, things I'd forgotten in the chaos of their lives. It's not easy. Some days are still rough, and I still get angry when I think about how she looked me in the eyes and lied. But I know I'll get through it. I've learned that betrayal doesn't define me. How I handle it does. If I could give anyone advice, it would be this: trust your instincts. Don't ignore the small signs. Those feelings of unease or suspicion are often right. And when someone shows you their true colors, don't try to fix it. Sometimes walking away is the only choice. Because in the end, the only person who truly cares about your happiness and well-being is you. I may be broken, but I'm also stronger now. I'm starting over, and I'm determined to find happiness again. Without lies, without betrayal, and without the people who don't deserve my trust.